Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at A Fold Apart. A Fold Apart is a narrative-driven puzzle game that tells the emotional story of the difficulties in maintaining a long-distance relationship, all in a world of papercraft. You take control of the two protagonists, selected at the beginning of the game, and explore their inner monologues as you solve puzzles by flipping, folding, and unfolding the paper levels to guide them from place to place. A Fold Apart is a really relatable story, especially if you've ever been in a long-distance relationship, though its themes of miscommunication and separation anxiety can ring fairly true even if you haven't been apart from a loved one over an extended period of time. The game draws you in with a cute opening chapter showcasing a wonderful relationship between two people deeply in love, before turning the screws as they go long distance due to work commitments. One person has moved away to fulfill a lifelong dream, leaving the other behind for a whole year. The opening is really effective at setting the scene and getting you invested in what's to come, and the game does a great job of following through, weaving an emotionally affecting tale through its puzzles. A Fold Apart works really well for two main reasons: its writing and its art. The game's dual protagonists are incredibly well written. Each chapter lets you control one of the couple as they communicate with each other, attempting to keep their relationship alive through a tough situation. Watching these two text each other, occasionally choosing the replies yourself, is incredibly sweet. The protagonists are lovable dogs, and it's really nice to see this aspect of their relationship develop. It's helped immensely by a wonderful papercraft-inspired art style. The contrast between cheerful and sorrowful is made literal by the scenes you're placed in, which go out of their way to fit the tone at any given moment. And it's super easy to connect with the Fold Apart's main protagonists thanks to their cute, expressive designs. I found myself smiling when they were happy and devastated when they were upset. Although it is worth mentioning that sometimes the art style can work against itself when things start to get serious. Watching one of the protagonists stomp angrily through a level, they looked more cute than enraged, like a small child having an adorable temper tantrum. When the inevitable miscommunication happens, you're thrust into the inner monologue of whichever character is taking the spotlight for that particular chapter. As you solve puzzles and make your way through the Escher-like dreamscapes of their mind, you'll get to hear and see their innermost thoughts, as the pair struggle with the distance between them and the strain that it puts on their relationship. They work through their emotional pain while you reshape the world around them. The story won't win any points for originality. It hits all the fairly obvious beats you'd probably expect given how it's set up. But A Fold Apart is a game with a lot of heart, so even if you've seen the story before, it's done well enough here that you'll be invested regardless. What will win points for originality is the creativity behind the puzzles you solve. A Fold Apart is made up of a series of levels that see you needing to fold, unfold, and flip them, as if each one is made of paper and you're an overseeing presence with the power to change them at will. Most puzzles are essentially the same thing. You need to manipulate the paper to connect platforms, avoiding obstacles and reaching a start in the level, which allows you to move forward. You're eased into things at first. A Fold Apart has a nice pace to it. Each chapter generally introduces a new way for you to interact with its levels, letting you learn for a screen or two before combining the new mechanic with the ones that have come before it. The puzzles are pretty satisfying to solve thanks to their originality, especially when you're combining multiple different gameplay mechanics to put the levels together in interesting ways. It's also not especially difficult. Most of the challenge I felt came from me overcomplicating puzzle solutions myself rather than keeping things simple. The only thing that can make puzzle solving feel irksome are the fiddly controls. While the controls themselves are simple enough, it can sometimes be difficult to make the levels do what I wanted them to do. I also encountered some weird glitches or possibly gameplay quirks when I was folding and flipping levels that would sometimes transport my character to a completely different location or immediately fold a level over rather than slowly doing it. But my main frustration generally came from how easy it is to do the wrong thing, which becomes especially prevalent in later levels when you've unlocked more mechanics. To fold the levels over, you need to move the analog stick from whichever side you are wanting to fold. Later, when the game adds the ability to fold the corners down as well, you do this in a similar fashion, moving the analog stick diagonally as opposed to straight. A dozen or more times during the latter stages of the game, I kept folding over the wrong part of the level, no matter how carefully I moved the analog stick, which started to build my frustration as I neared the end of the game. It's a noticeable issue, and an aggravating one, but it doesn't take too much away from the game itself. A Fold Apart tells an emotional story, complete with some inventive puzzles. While I wasn't breaking my brain trying to solve most of them, I did appreciate their creativity. And the puzzles aren't really what's important here, but rather the affectingly relevant story of two people whose relationship is in a tough spot, which interweaves the gameplay and internal thought processes of its characters really well. If you're looking for a cozy game to spend an afternoon with, A Fold Apart is worth a look. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.